Good morning, SAU 67, and welcome to our March PD Day. It's been a very interesting year this year. I was just running some stats and just wanted to cover, the journey that we've taken this year. We began our school year where we took 3 student days and converted them to teacher work days to start our school year so we could get ready to implement the opening plan. And we had 33 days where we were in default green from the 1st of September until the 21st of October. And then community spread became substantial in our communities. And we had to, we implemented the matrix and we went to default yellow. And as we went to default yellow, we had 2 orange days to change over. That was a Thursday and Friday on October 22nd and 23rd. And then we've had 77 default yellow days from 10/26 to 3/12, which will technically be next Monday. We had 4 fully remote snow days. We had 2 in December and 2 in February, and we had to adapt to teaching kids fully remote and fully digitally online for weather. And after March 15th, we have 61 green days projected from March 15th until June 15th, which is our projected end of the year. So, using not taking into account individual quarantines and individual changes, and using the fact that maybe 2/5 were in-person days when we were yellow. Before we make the change on March 15th, we had 63 days of in-person instruction for a student and 53 days of remote instruction for students. So it's been about half and half. When we get all done for the year, we'll have 124 in-person days for those students and 53 remote days, so it'll be more of a balance. But teaching those students with our integrated model, or as a lot of people called it, the hybrid model, has been a very difficult thing, but it's also been something that's really changed us and changed our students. I'm very proud that as SAU 67, we taught students in person when they were remote. No, we didn't. We did live teaching for both in-person and remote students at the same time. That was very difficult. I've gone around and seen classrooms and seen it in implementation at the various schools, and that was not easy at all. But it really provided a quality education for students whether they were in person or they were remote. And it's been hard, and people have talked to me about how difficult that has been. But we did it. And I think it's very good that we've looked at some of our preliminary assessment results, and they show that our students have really kept up. So today we get to the Professional Development Day, and we're going to put aside all that for a day. One of the things I'm very proud of is that, yes, we did the management of COVID, we did the management of how to implement protocols for our students to keep them safe, and how to do all of the logistics that came from dealing with the pandemic and running school. At the same time, we've really pushed forward 3 large leadership initiatives, and today is a day to work on those and to maybe introduce some, maybe move some a little bit more forward, and really celebrate, the larger ideas, the larger leadership ideas of where our district has been this year. So one of the things that I was thinking about as we introduced this PD Day is, what did we learn from the dinosaurs? And what we learned from the dinosaurs is you either evolve or you go extinct. And I see 2 major factors right now driving the agenda for New Hampshire Public Schools. The first one is political. If you look at the New Hampshire political legislative agenda right now, we have Republican control of the governor, both houses, the executive council, the state school board, the commissioner, other members of the DOE, And there is an agenda there. It's the most ambitious agenda I've ever seen for choice and charters and vouchers. And there's a lot of bills being considered that will really change public education and make it a whole different environment of what we have been operating in. And of course, the second factor I see driving the agenda for public schools is just the pandemic, remote instruction, hybrids, our use of technology, and the things that we have changed to adapt to schooling at this time. And I see that it just accelerated change that was already happening. It accelerated change that we were already working on. And I think people are saying, well, when are we going to return to normal? And I don't think we are. I don't think there is a return to normal because the journey has changed us. How have we changed? Think about the techniques you have used. Think about the instructional approaches that you are now using and the way that you have had to adapt your practice in order to deal with the pandemic. You have changed as a teacher. Think of how our students have changed. They have had to deal with this hybrid and the remote instruction the same way we have. They have gained skills that they wouldn't have if they were with us in person every single day this year. And our communities have changed. There's going to be different expectations of the way we do business going forward, different expectations of how we do meetings, different expectations of how we provide education to each and every student. So I'm asking you today to listen and participate. We're taking a little bit of risk. We're doing something a little bit different than the traditional sit and get. It's going to involve you kind of taking a little bit of a leap of faith and putting yourself out there a little bit to participate in the activities we have designed for you. And it really should be a day of reflection and a day of looking at your practice. And I just ask you to kind of lose yourself in the day, not be too much like, oh, we should really be able to do lesson plans right now, or we should be able to do seating charts, or we should be able to move furniture to get ready for green. Let's put that aside for a little while. It's stuff that needs to be done, but just let yourself be kind of wrapped up in the events of today. So we have three big initiatives that we've been working on: Future Ready Schools, MTSSB, which is about behavior, and a real focus on diversity and equity this year. And when it comes down for me, when I boil it down, it's something that I looked at about 8 years ago, or it might have been 6 years ago. It was the concept of mass personalization, which is an interesting concept. I mean, you think about, you started in a society that had personalization. You went to a craftsman to build anything you wanted to. You went to a one-room schoolhouse, and things were personalized to you. And then the assembly line came along, the factory model to schooling, and we had mass production come in. And now we're looking at mass personalization. The technologies has evolved, our procedures and our processes have evolved, that we can go back and we can look at mass personalization of learning. That we can go back to getting a product that is mass produced, but it's also fits us perfectly. Or an education that is provided with economy of scale, but fits every individual student perfectly. And I go back to our mission statement, is mass personalization. It is caring for each person every day. It's a focus on each person. It's caring about what they need and what they have to go forward. It is focusing on learning, because it becomes about learning, not about teaching, not about assessment. And we're coming out of the standards era, we're coming out of the testing era, and I really think we're going to be focusing on instruction both nationally and locally as we go forward. And finally, it's definitely teaching to touch the future. One of the things we've looked at with Future Ready Schools is what needs to happen in our schools now to prepare students for the world that they're going to face. So the last thing I'd ask you to do is, over the next few weeks, and as you think about kind of a little bit of soul searching and counting the costs, I believe our job as educators is changing. It's changing because there are pressures from the pandemic, and there's going to be changes. There's going to be pressure to adapt our education according to the journey we've been on and the things we've learned. And there's definitely political pressures on the public school to adapt and to meet the needs of individual students, or private education will take over and do it for us. I had a teacher come in and talk to me, and they're retiring this year, and we had a long talk. And this person doesn't need to retire. This person could continue working in the public schools. But this person looked at the job and said, it's evolving. It's changing. It's not what I got into education for. And I just don't want to make that change, and I want to do something different. And I've been thinking about my own job and what I've been doing, and is it time to start thinking about doing something different and move on? And it has definitely changed. I mean, if you look online, you can see people talk about what the context of the job of education is. It's very different. And so, you have to think about, am I ready to embrace that change? And again, the pandemic has accelerated that, and we're going to see some rapid change in our world and in our jobs. And a lot of people are like, well, the pandemic will be over and we'll be able to go back and it'll be like it was. And it's like, no, we have changed, students have changed, our society has changed. And we're going to have to evolve and change education in response to that. There's a famous story told about the conquistadors when they came to South America and were ready to conquer the native population, and they burned their ships. The idea is they were sitting on the shore, and the leaders gave the order to burn the ships because there's no going back. And I don't think that I'm going to give an order to burn the ships, but I think I've seen that there just is no going back. It's going to be different. I'm hoping it's going to be better. And, I just hope you spend the day today with a little bit of an open mind. You look at what's going on. You look at what the changes are. And, these to me are not new changes. These are things that we have been working on for a number of years, even future-ready schools. This is something we signed on, a while ago. We signed on to this. And all of our work on competencies, all of our work on developing the mastery transcript and some other things like that we've been doing are all kind of wrapped up into this initiative. So, I hope you have a good day today. Like I said, I hope you throw yourself into the activities, and at the end of the day, you sit back and you reflect on where we are, where we're going, and personally, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the 3 initiatives that we're working on moving forward, and I think it's where we've been pointing at for a while. And I am excited to see them coming to fruition. So thank you. I hope you have a great day, and welcome to the PD Day.